I know everybody's getting ready for spooky season, but Christmas just came early. What is up, everybody, and welcome to my review of the 2025 upcoming remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night. So I just got back from 9 days in Austin, Texas, 8 of which covering Fantastic Fest, a film festival full of a bunch of genre flicks. At that festival, they have multiple secret screenings, of which this year there were 4 of them, and the very first secret screening on day 4 of the festival was revealed to be the Silent Night, Deadly Night remake, which is going to be coming wide to theaters on December 12th. And the basic premise of this film, which is going to sound eerily similar to the original, is that you have this character, Billy, who witnessed the violent murder of his mother and father as a child by a psycho man in a Santa suit, and years later, while donning a Santa suit of his own, he grabs an axe and goes on an absolute killing spree during the holiday season. Now, I'm somebody where I like the original Silent Night, Deadly Night for what it is. It's never been one of my favorites. I've only seen it 2 or 3 times, but I enjoy it for kind of the low-rent, trashy type slasher film that it's trying to be. And while in the past I have made an effort to try to watch the rest of the films, I tapped out at the second film, which is infamously known for being one of the worst movies ever made. Garbage Day. And I'm very happy to report that not only is this easily my favorite of the Silent Night, Deadly Night films, but this is a movie that takes some major chances, goes for some big swings, and I think every single one of them pay off wonderfully. So this is absolutely going to be a holiday slasher treat that's going to be unveiled to all of you in December. And before I get into this review, I want to let you guys know I am going to be doing, as I do every year, a full ranking of every film I saw at Fantastic Fest. This year I was able to see 26 films, the most that I've ever seen at a film festival. That ranking is going to be coming to you tomorrow. There's a lot of great movies that I'm going to be talking about that you guys need to keep your eyes on, so please hit that subscribe button so you do not miss that ranking video. I did a lot of work, saw a lot of films, and had a lot of sleepless nights being sure that I could talk about as many movies as possible. And on the note of sleepless nights, if you're somebody that struggles to sleep at night like I do, then check out the sponsor of today's video, Plank Mattress. If you're somebody who could never find a mattress firm enough, Plank is your answer. Plank offers ultra-firm, flippable mattresses designed to promote a neutral spine position which improves back health and posture. My wife often struggles with back pain, and I often struggle with being way too hot to get a comfortable sleep at night, so to relieve both of those issues, we opted for the Queen Plank Firm Luxe mattress with the Glaciotex cooling cover. The Plank Firm Luxe mattress has 2 different varieties of firmness on each side of the mattress, so you have even more options to find your perfect level of comfort. What I love most about sleeping on a Plank mattress is that every inch of my body has a good amount of support, so I wake up in the morning without any aches and pains, and the Glaciotex cooling cover keeps me at the perfect temperature so I can get a full night's sleep. And the process of buying and setting up a Plank mattress could not have been easier. Going online versus going into a mattress store is definitely the preferred way for me, and all you have to do is lay the mattress out onto the bed frame, open up the plastic, and let the air inflate the mattress to its full size. And with Plank mattress, you get a 120 night sleep trial plus a limited lifetime warranty, and the best part is you get free shipping right to your door if you live in the US. I love my Plank mattress, and I think you will too. So if you're looking for an ultra firm mattress, check out plankmattress.com/Cody Leach or click the link in the video description and use code Cody Leach for 30% off of your order. And thank you so much to Plank Mattress for sponsoring today's video. Now, starting off with the positives of Silent Night, Deadly Night, as I've already talked about, and I'm going to be extremely vague when talking about this, no spoilers whatsoever. This movie has such a fantastic spin on the original story. This is exactly what you want a remake to do, whether it's remaking a film that is a little lesser known or a bona fide classic. It should preserve a lot of the spirit, a lot of the heart, a lot of the vibe of the original, while doing something wildly different, uncovering something that was never attempted with the original, turning something on its head, going in a direction that was teased but never really fulfilled in the original, something along those lines. And while this movie, for the majority of its runtime, definitely feels like it's being more of a, tried and true beat for beat type of remake with a few small changes here and there, eventually you reach a point where they really do take the original concept and completely evolve it in a way that was never attempted in the original series. And the second that that plot point hit, the movie immediately upgraded in my eyes, where I was certainly entertained up to that point, but the rest of the film after that, I was like, oh, I am so fucking on board for this. And the coolest part about it is I don't think there's anybody, even the most dedicated fans of the original, that is not going to enjoy the different directions that this movie takes. You know, it might not be a movie that they prefer to the original for nostalgia reasons or for stylistic reasons, but I think everybody that loves the simplicity of the original film and just a psycho Santa killer movie is going to really like the ambition that they take here, and the fact that they didn't just do a beat for beat remake and bring some modern gore into it to be their only addition to this franchise. And I think what I love the most about it is it's a really fun, balanced mashup of some really cool new ideas with a lot of tried and true classic ideas. I basically described it in my out of theater reaction in Austin, Texas, as if you took the original Silent Night, Deadly Night and you threw it in a blender with Venom, Frailty, and Dexter. And you could speculate on whatever that means until December 12th, but there are so many different elements brought in here with the character motivations, with the stylistic changes on how they give you exposition and how characters communicate, and certain little plot twists and turns and how certain things are revealed in the third act that definitely are pulling from all of those different IPs in a way that doesn't just feel like they're copying a bunch of homework. It feels like we're taking the coolest elements of a bunch of things that I love, and even something like Venom that I was very mixed on at best, and taking the coolest aspects of that and really doing a nice spin on a movie that has a proven track record and a fan base. And it also allows the movie to have like this vintage feel to it, while at the same time feeling like it very much is this modernized story. It is a modernized take on these characters. There's a lot more effort being put into here into actually coloring out the character of Billy, our protagonist, the lead psycho in the movie, as well as the side characters here. I would never say the original Silent Night, Deadly Night is a character-driven film. It is a very basic, bare-bones type of plot, which many of the most celebrated slashers of all time kind of fit into that category. And this one, I love the fact that they actually said, hey, that's a cool concept, but let's see what else we can do here. Let's see if we can get into the mind of Billy a little bit more. Let's see if we can figure out how he ticks and take him in a few different directions and definitely pay homage to some of the older elements of Billy. Let's try to expand on how he interacts with all the different characters throughout the movie and what sets him off and what motivates him. And even just on a story level, it goes much further than just having a guy go psycho in a Santa suit. There's other little side plots and lingering elements that you're waiting to see paid off. So it's a movie that they just put so much extra effort in that I appreciated so much, because at the risk of feeling redundant and repetitive, they could have very easily have just gone the bare bones route and gave us Terrifier level gore, and most horror fans would have been totally satisfied with that. But they said, no, let's do something else. Let's give it some extra effort that nobody is expecting. On the casting side, you have Rohan Campbell here as your lead, as the character Billy, and he is most, I guess I would say, infamously known as playing Corey Cunningham in Halloween Ends, the character that ended up being kind of the secret lead of that film that really infuriated the Halloween fan base. And what I will say is that all the Halloween Ends frustration and hate aside, much of which I totally understand, Rohan Campbell did a really good job with what he was given. You can hate the character of Corey Cunningham, you can hate that story direction, but his performance was not the problem in that film. And this really gives him a chance to shine. You get to see that darkness again that we got a lot of shades of in Halloween Ends. You get to see a lot more of the charming, funny side of him. He's definitely got a bit of a physical presence to him. I really loved his holistic appearance and his holistic performance to bringing this character Billy to life in a way that we have not seen before. It's much more of a rounded character than we saw back in the 80s. And he's an actor that I definitely think needs to be given a break on the Halloween Ends thing, and I think this movie is going to do it. I think that people are going to enjoy what he brings to the character so much that they're immediately going to go, okay, even though it's not your fault and I should have never blamed you, I totally forgive you for Halloween Ends. Now let's see what the fuck else this guy can bring us, because he's awesome. And Ruby Modine plays our most prominent side character as Pamela here, who's kind of the love interest of Billy, and I absolutely love the dynamic that she had with Rohan Campbell. Now, we've seen her before in a smaller role in the Happy Death Day movies. I believe she had a pretty prominent role on at least 1 or 2 seasons of Shameless, so I've seen her before as an actress, and she's always been really good, but her character has a really fun dynamic here. And I'm not really going to describe too much, but she has a little bit of an edge and a little bit of a darkness and a little bit of a vengeful streak to her that very much matches the crazy of Billy, while she's not this psychopathic killer. So it brings a lot of really interesting dynamics here where In a lot of ways, it feels like they're the perfect couple, and in a lot of ways, you're waiting for that shoe to drop of when she finds out who he actually is and how this is all going to go terribly wrong. And it just brings a really cool dynamic to the movie where you're actually rooting for the love interest and everything to work out with a nice little happy Christmas bow for an absolute psychopath murdering machine. And a lot of the movie's humor actually comes out of physical situations between these two, and especially with the rage that her character has defending her little cousin and things like that. You know, it's a movie that has a very solid heartbeat at the center of it, and the dynamic and the chemistry between Rohan Campbell and Ruby Modine is absolutely that beating heart of the movie. And beyond just their dynamics, the movie has a great sense of humor with just hilarious situations, with how far they take certain things, with elements that are brought in, especially one scene in particular that was the standout for pretty much everybody I talked to at Fantastic Fest, that you don't even realize or see coming that those type of characters are going to be starring in a Silent Night, Deadly Night movie. So just like with the story and the character ambition, I feel like they really embraced the silliness of a killer Santa movie and took it much more in a comedic route while holding on to all the darkness and all the depravity of it. And that's such a great mix. I feel like you have to have that, especially in 2025 with a movie like this. If you took it dead serious, it just wouldn't quite work. And stylistically, I love how much they embrace the holiday of Christmas here. It kind of feels like you have to, but you would be surprised how many holiday horror movies and holiday slashers don't make Christmas as much of a prominent element as it feels like it should be. And this one, you have holiday music. The entire thing is set during the week before Christmas. Of course, you have a killer Santa going around. You have Christmas-style weapons being used. There's a whole element, and this isn't a spoiler, but it's in the trailer. It's a really cool thing where his victims, he like keeps trophies of them by wiping their blood inside of an advent calendar for each day of the month that he's killing people. Like, they really embrace some holiday elements here and put a nice little twisted spin on them. And to me, I just love when a movie does that. Like when Terrifier 3 had this very vintage holiday look to it that almost reminded you of Christmas mall Santas of like the 70s and the 80s. This movie just takes a lot of these classic holiday elements and says, how can we make a fucked up take on this? Let's roll with it. And without saying too much, the last thing that I'll say here on the positives that was a really nice surprise to have this movie end off on is that I think the concept that they ultimately go for here, once the movie truly reveals itself, there's a lot of potential for the future here. There's a lot of ways they can expand this concept. There's a lot of ways that they can really continue on this story and these characters. I don't know how successful the movie is going to be. I imagine it's going to be a hit, and I really hope that they have the success that I think that they deserve. But if they have the success, the means, and the drive to make more Silent Night, Deadly Night films, I think regardless of the reputation of the first run at this franchise, this could turn into a really solid recurring holiday horror franchise that brings a lot of fun to the community. Moving on to the mixed element, I will say probably just because of the names involved and the fact that they were involved with the Terrifier franchise, maybe this was an unfair expectation, but I did expect the movie to be a little bit more brutal. Now, they do have a good amount of carnage candy. The body count is significantly higher in this movie than either of the two Silent Night, Deadly Night films I've seen previous to this. So there is a definite focus on the kills, but I was expecting them to be ramped up a little bit more with the gore or with the intensity or the brutality. And honestly, the most brutal kills here are the ones that are callback kills. And the amount of Easter eggs and callbacks and references would actually be my second mixed element. Now, I lean mixed positive on that. I think that there's a number of them here that are great crowd-pleasing moments, especially for established fans of the franchise. There's a number of things referenced from the first film and the second film. If they referenced anything from 3, 4, and 5, obviously I wouldn't know, but I doubt they did. But there were a number of points where my audience in my theater erupted into laughter or clapped or, pumped their fists in the air like, fuck yeah, baby, I'm so glad that's in there. But I think that there could have been a few less of them. I think maybe there's a few too many. And the fact that the most prominent kills in the movie are just recycled callbacks was a bit of a missed opportunity for me. Now, they've even showed one of them directly in the trailer, so there's not even much of a surprise with that one. So that's really my only thing with the film that I think had the potential to make it even more of something that just crushes with audience, is having some more standout kills and doing a few less callbacks, relying a little bit less on the legacy of the first two films. And now moving on to the two negatives. Now, overall, I think this is a very fun, very successful reimagining of the film, but I have to be honest, the very ending of the movie, like the last 15 minutes or so, I did feel like it fizzled out. I can't really color out the reasons why without leaning into plot elements that I don't want to spoil, but there's certain things set up throughout the movie that you're really waiting to be paid off, and the way that it pays off, I didn't feel like was as awesome of a payoff as I think there was potential to be. There's another element that's brought in about halfway through the film that is meant to be paid off in the third act that really felt like it was just kind of tossed aside completely. So while I did not dislike the ending, there's certainly one element of it that I think was strong as far as setting up potential for the future. I feel like the movie does peter out a little bit as it's reaching its finish line. And the only other thing that I will say, as evidenced by me and even more so by my buddy Chuck, my co-host in Lost in the Shadows, is that the movie does take a good while to really grab you. Now, up until the point when the movie reveals all its little tricks and the things that it's going to be doing to really change up the dynamic of Silent Night, Deadly Night, it's a very solid, straightforward Killer Santa movie. And that's very entertaining. Like, I was engaged, I was having a good time with it, but I was waiting for something to grab me. I was waiting for the kills to get ramped up or, some kind of change in the story. And eventually, as I've said, that does happen. But it takes about 45 minutes or so for that to really happen, and suddenly the movie shows up. And so I would not be surprised if a number of people watching this, especially if they don't expect that the movie's actually going to have anything cool in store that they're building to maybe be a little bit underwhelmed in the first half because it feels so by the numbers. Which again, I think if they had a few more standout kills in the first two acts, then that would have circumvented that a lot while we're waiting for the new elements to come in. But as is, the second half of the film to me is where the most interesting stuff happens, where the first half is very much like the movie that I expected. Overall, guys, I had a great time with this one. I cannot wait for everybody to see this in December. I'll absolutely be going out to the theater and checking it out with however many people decide to show up for it. Hopefully a lot on December 12th, but for somebody who is a casual fan at best of the original, I think this is easily an improvement on it. I'll take story and characters over exploitation any day. I think that there takes some really bold chances here that all paid off really well for me. Rohan Campbell was terrific, as well as Ruby Modine. So I think this is going to be a really nice, pleasant surprise for a lot of slasher fans. And, it finally gives me the motivation to suffer through the rest of this Silent Night, Deadly Night film. So come December, you can not only expect a damn good slasher film to come your way, but you can also expect that long-awaited Silent Night, Deadly Night ranking from yours truly. Happy holidays. That's my present to you. Well, that's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed that, please click over here for all of my 2025 new release reviews. I'm also going to put my original review of the original Silent Night, Deadly Night up here. It's a bit of an older video, but I'm sure my thoughts hold up pretty well on it. Like, share, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss everything in the future, including my Fantastic Fest ranking, all 26 films that I saw, which will be dropping tomorrow. So see you guys then, and as always, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean that you have to be. Naughty. Punish.